use a trampoline.
I admit, I like watching this. It grabs my attention. And for my show, I do things like taking a chainsaw to the budget, getting a pedicure from fish, and breaking windows. Is this news?
You can give the viewers a laugh and still bring them the news.
Today, more people say they get their news from real comedians.
So teens, that's why you know him so well.
Everything's changing.
Glenn Beck says my TV show is toast.
You don't need that anymore.
And finally, what about bias?
When you're around the same people all day, you can't see your own biases.
The media and how we get it wrong. That's our show tonight.
And now, John Stossel.
We in the media like to think we do serious work. Thomas Jefferson said that if it were left to him to decide to have a government without newspapers or newspapers without government, he'd prefer newspapers. Now we have television, too. We help keep oppressors in check. We warn you about dangers, keep you informed about what's important. Except that I read the papers and watch TV shows, including my own, and we do a lot of silly stuff. I once went to a junkyard and smashed things.
Stimulate! Stimulate! Stimulate!
I was making a point about the president's stimulus plan. I could have made the point without the sledgehammer, but I thought more of you might pay attention if I broke things. I'll do all kinds of things to get you to focus on what I think's important. Also, I admit TV news is also a business. If you don't watch, we don't make money, I get fired, we go out of business. So we're all under pressure to tell you what's important, but also to try to make it interesting. That can be a conflict. Fox anchor Megyn Kelly deals with that conflict every day. She hosts America Live from 1 to 3 p.m. That means she does 10 hours of live TV every week.
Wow.
And look, you fill it with some nonsense. Car chases. You always cover the car chase of the moment.
Ratings gold.
Teen models, diet fads. All right, ratings gold. But aren't we supposed to be in the news business just covering what's important?
Well, it's a crime. It's a crime in progress. We cover crime, depending on what it is, every day. Why not cover a crime in progress where we can witness the events? And we all, in essence, become potential witnesses in court because we watch it unfold. And there's a big question mark about the outcome. I think that's why people really want to watch it, is because they want to see what's going to happen.
All right. Well, here's my gripe. These shows, yours is called America Live. There's Happening Now, which comes on before you. It's all about what's happening now, and that's what people want. But I think the important stuff happens slowly. The gradual increase in the deficit, which may crush us. The women's movement, the invention of the birth control pill, the invention of the computer chip. We're lousy at covering that, and that's the most important stuff. And while you're covering the crime of the day, we cover less of that.
I think that is truer of the evening broadcasts on network than it is of cable news. Because, as you say, I do 10 hours of live TV a week. If for no other reason, then you have to fill that time. We get to virtually all the major stories. We do tons of stories on debt, on the deficit, on health care. When the health care debate first started, I was co-anchoring America's Newsroom with Bill Hemmer in the mornings. And ours was one of the very first shows to pay that story any attention. You don't remember it now because it's such a huge story, but when it first started, nobody was paying attention to it. And then, an explosion happened with the Tea Party and everybody else, and now everybody's on it.
And no question, it's one of the reasons I left ABC to go to Fox, because Fox covers much more of the stuff that I think is important.
Well, and they don't have as much real estate over there. We're a 24/7 cable operation. We have a lot of real estate to cover.
But if we were saying we're news people, shouldn't it be all that? I mean, you just recently, here's a story you covered. Pantyhose for men.
Mantyhose.
Clip here.
Introducing Mantyhose. Yes, Mantyhose. Or perhaps you prefer Brosery. Women have recognized the benefits of the legwear for decades.
Okay, come on.
was a kicker for the show. That was like the thing we do right before we toss to Shepard because we wanted to talk to him about his brosery. No, you can give the viewers a laugh and still bring them the news. I like to think of my show. I can speak to how we approach our show, which is it's all the news. You can talk about something that's a social issue or something that a mom may be experiencing or something that will just give people cocktail party fodder like mannyhose or brosery.
But every second we devote to that is the second we take away from healthcare and the deficit.
Right. We could completely transform ourselves into the most boring network possible. It's already out there. It's called C-SPAN. With all due respect, they do a good service, but who watches? No one wants to watch that 24/7. They want to get their news, but they also want to be entertained. I think this is a problem a lot of the other networks don't get, but Fox News does. The key is to give them the news, but not to bore them to death. Don't bore them to death. It's not necessary.
Though I'd make a distinction about C-SPAN because C-SPAN covers politicians talking. And that's not news. That's just windbags talking.
My
news
eyes glaze over.
Analyzing this stuff.
Right.
And, I'm not going to be holier than thou. I've gone on your show with a llama.
Yeah, I was going to say, weren't you standing there next to me with an alpaca?
Yes.
I thought so.
To make a point about the tax incentives and how they distort the economy.
Listen, it's the difference.
I have props.
Yeah, I love your props. I am actually sitting next to the ball and chain.
Here we go.
Stop
This
them.
is the
It's not that heavy.
road to serfdom. Okay.
It's a real disappointment.
It's a little disappointment if you hold it. Don't give that away.
I want to put it on.
So I'm not saying I'm above this. I'm just saying that, we're
here's
so
where you're caught
pompous
up.
about covering the news.
Here's where you're caught up. It's journalism, yes, but it's broadcast journalism. And you need to be both a journalist and you need to be a good broadcaster in order to deliver compelling television. And some people are and some people aren't. And part of the broadcast obligation, I think, is to make it compelling visually, to keep people stimulated as they watch. It's not just about the straight news and nothing but the facts, because they can get that now. They can get that in print. They can get that online. When they turn into a television show, they want to see more. They want to see analysis. They want to see interesting video. And I think they do more and more want to take that emotional journey as they get the news.
Megyn Kelly, thank you. Good luck with your 10 hours a week.
Thanks.
So, given that we in the media are not perfect, we do have biases, I'm glad there are people who watch the media for that. One group, the Media Research Center, keeps track of bias and sometimes deceit of the left-wing media. And on the left, a group called Media Matters bills itself as a research center dedicated to correcting conservative misinformation. Tucker Carlson of the Daily Caller recently reported that Media Matters does some nasty things in the name of correcting so-called conservative misinformation. So, Tucker, like what?
Well, Media Matters had an entire program to try and basically eliminate Fox as a news organization. There aren't very many non-liberal news outlets, as you know. You could count them on one hand. One of them is Fox. And Media Matters drew up an entire plan, an internal memo. We got a copy of it that outlined its plans to, for instance, send private detectives after Fox News employees to uncover embarrassing details about their personal lives.
To spy on them. Anchors
exactly right.
And producers as well, behind-the-scenes people.
And executives, exactly right. Any employee of News Corporation, the parent company of Fox, put signs outside their homes, billboards, embarrass them in their communities, attack them in social media.
But they haven't done this. This maybe was just one guy thinking out loud.
Well, actually, it was the entire organization thinking corporately as a group. This memo was a product of a number of people's input, and it's not clear that they didn't do this. Actually, they haven't commented on it. We know that they did send undercover camera teams into speeches given by Fox employees. We don't have the receipts that prove they hired private detectives, but it wouldn't surprise me.
But if they put billboards up, we would have seen those.
We would have. That's exactly right. The point of this is, look, I think it's entirely valid, as you suggested in your intro, to keep track of what the media are saying. That's an important function, actually, I would argue. This is a very different thing. This is an attempt to squelch comment they disagree with, to crush a perspective they don't think ought to be aired. This is an attempt to influence news and get certain people to just shut up. And that's, I think, very different from critiquing news.
And you published an internal memo from them on their enemy list. And Fox,
That's right.
Fox employees, other conservative news sites, even conservative politicians
That's right.
Were on the list. But a left-wing group has an enemies list and they're conservative. I'm not surprised.
Well, I mean, there is a certain irony here, of course, because the memory of the McCarthy period is kept alive by the left in this country as a way to point out, the excesses of conservatives, and this is what can happen when, the powerful run amok. And here is a left-wing group creating an enemies list. I mean, clearly the irony meter was broken at Media Matters the day they decided to do that. These are people trying to get people they disagree with to stop talking.
Yeah, telling people to stop talking is creepy. On the other hand, when they cover me, I kind of enjoy it because they don't necessarily say I'm totally evil. They'll post the video and say, can you believe what Stossel said, that not every young person should vote? And they just post it. Let other people decide for themselves.
Well, of course you like it because it's not possible to intimidate you, obviously. I mean, you spent many years having a minority view at a television network, at a broadcast network. That's a hard thing. And I know this. So clearly, this has no effect on you other than to amuse you. But for a lot of reporters, let's say you're an AP reporter and you're, politically agnostic or sort of liberal, not an activist, but a little kind of liberal. If Media Matters jumps on you and you get, 300 hostile emails, you think that's not going to affect your coverage? Of course it will. And that's exactly what they did. They attacked people in the mainstream conventional media who disagreed with them. And it did have an effect on coverage, I would argue.
The head of Media Matters responded saying that what you did was an effort here on the part of Tucker as a paid contributor to Fox Channel to dampen the effect we think our new book is going to have.
Right. Well, the book was an absurd clip job, and the book was never going to have much of an effect. Fox doesn't pay me enough to enter into any kind of conspiracy. And, of course, there was no conspiracy. I run a news organization. We've got, the biggest conservative news site, and I've got a ton of reporters, and this was an obvious story. And, by the way, the only reason we did this story was because disgruntled employees of David Brock came to us, not because they turned conservative, they're still liberal, but because they so disagreed with the manner in which he runs that company that they tattled on him. This, as you know, after a lifetime in the news business, this is how stories originate. Someone gets mad and comes to you with the goods. That's exactly what happened.
But you're happy that there is a group out there keeping an eye on what people call the right.
Well, I mean, I'm happy that there are people out there fact-checking. I mean, when I had a show, the last thing I wanted was to be held accountable. I mean, no one really wants to be held accountable. Of course.
I hate that.
Of course. And by the way, before 10 years ago, you could say virtually anything you wanted on cable, and there was no way to really check it. Now YouTube has made everybody accountable. I think that makes it uncomfortable to appear on television.
But it's a good thing.
But it's a good thing. It's absolutely right. If you believe in high standards, if you believe in objective truth, and I do, then you're for that. So I don't have a complaint with that. I have a complaint with trying to hurt people for political reasons. I don't think Media Matters has shown any evidence that they're interested in the truth at all. They're a partisan political group that coordinates with the Obama White House. I mean, I don't take them seriously as a watchdog group, but I think there could be a serious watchdog group on the left, and I would welcome the presence of such a group.
Well, thank you, Tucker Carlson. I appreciate what you do, and I'm glad you started the Daily Caller.
Thanks, John. I appreciate it.
Coming up, Glenn Beck's here to say, my job, this job, my program, may soon be history because of his internet channel. It's the wave of the future, he says. And Frank Luntz is here to tell us why we shouldn't trust the media.